Hey, how's it going, everyone? Welcome back. We got a great episode for you guys tonight on Fantasy Football Reports here on Shady Sports. I'm your bus driver, Cedric Green. We got Justin in the back. I'll bring him on after the title. Just want to say, hey, babe, thanks for joining us and welcome in for season 2 or season 3, I think it is. I don't know. I'm all over the place with the seasons. No, it's season 3, episode 21 of Fantasy Football Reports. Tonight we're going to be talking about some stardom. Should we start them? Should we sit them? There's a couple of injuries. We're also going to be touching on, I think Justin has his team of the week, his IDP player of the week. We have a couple of, if Seany joins us, we have Shawnee's picks as well. So we got a couple things for you guys tonight. So stick with us. We got some good things going. Let's get this intro, get right into it.
Sit back, relax a little bit. Let me tell you a story. See if yours is anything like mine. Remember when I was a kid? So much better when I popped the lid. Fill the wrap or open it up.
Exactly, listen to Seany. Right, and Cash Out's the easy way to get money transferred when you're out with friends. So jump into that and then we'll get back to it.
He said, baby, jump in the back, boy. Tailgate crazy.
Come on, guys, jump on this tailgate. Come and talk some football with us. You know how we do every Tuesday, every Sunday tonight. Tuesday night, 6:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. We're bringing it to you heavy hitting. We got, like I said, you get us your start or sit questions. We got Justin's team of the week. So Justin, what's up, man? What's up?
It's all good. It's all good. Enjoying that intro with Dennis Cockerman. That's some great music.
It's some good music, man. Those guys got some good energy. I like their shows too. I've been trying to catch them a little bit more.
Yeah. But I'm doing good, especially, that big Lions win last night. It really took that sour taste of losing all my leagues out of my mouth. So pretty cool. Pretty good.
Right, and I guess it turned out exactly how you said too, right? I wish I had.
I was telling you, you're going to run that ball.
Mm-hmm. I wonder if I have it, I don't know how it will work. I don't want to pull something up. But no, you said they were going to run down their throws, man. They came out and they ran. I was so close to coming back on the power of that running game. It was sad to see that I didn't get my full comeback. I had a couple of losses myself.
Yeah,
man, but
Monday Night Miracles only happen for half the people.
There were some big scores, though, from that Monday night. Like I said, I had both the running backs. So, I saw 19, almost 20 points from Gibbs and then 15 points from Montgomery.
Yeah,
that was pretty solid.
That's a perfect to start one of your running back too and put the other one on the flex.
I even had the Lions defense, man. For a while, they were looking good. They ended up with 8 points. So I guess
it's a lot of bend don't break defense. They're gonna hurt you by giving up some points, but they're gonna redeem it by getting some sacks and some interceptions and a lot of tackles.
Yeah, man. And speaking of the Lions, like I said, we got a lot of points. They're one of those teams that have a bye week coming up in week 5. So that's a lot of points you're missing right there. We got the Chargers. I don't know if there's quite so much from the Chargers. Who are you missing from the Chargers?
If you got them, Justin Herbert, J.K. Dobbins, Lad McConkey is probably your and the kicker, Cameron Dicker, if you have him as your kicker in the leagues that you have kickers. Otherwise, some of the IDPs would be Joey Bosa, Khalil Mack, Asante Samuel. So those players are all gone off the Chargers if you play IDP like I do a lot.
And I guess that'd be more so what you'd be seeing from the Chargers, really. I guess Ladd would probably be like your third or fourth receiver, maybe a second receiver.
Yeah, and Quentin Johnson has cooled off after the first 2 good weeks he had. So, if you had him in a flex, now you got to find a replacement there that he's on a bye. We also have the Titans and the Eagles on a bye, so that's a lot of fantasy point players there too for the Eagles.
Well, for the Eagles, I guess the big ones, Saquon and Dallas.
Jalen Hurts, Dallas Goedert, Jake Elliott.
Jake Elliott. Has he been?
Some people might have him from draft day and they
I
just
have
don't pick
him.
him.
I just draw.
Yeah.
I'm trying to, but yeah, you're right. And then the Titans, I know I have Calvin Ridley. He hasn't done so much, but
Yeah, DeAndre Hopkins and Tony Pollard and Tajay Spears
oh yeah, that running game.
probably is your what you're rolling with out of the Titans offense.
Mm-hmm.
So some significant players they'll be missing this week, but nothing you can't replace and get supplemental points off your bench.
Right. There you go. Well, I mean, it's with it just being us two, man. I mean, we might as well get right into it. Speaking of, we were talking a little bit about the IDP players earlier. So we got your IDP player of the week.
Mm-hmm.
Blake
Yes.
Cashman.
He's a starting linebacker for the Minnesota Vikings. He was involved in 11 tackles last week, 6 of them solo, 5 of them assisted. He had a pass defended, and he was just on the field. He was the captain there, and he was really controlling that defense that held that Packers from that comeback. So I think against anything, the reason why I selected him too over a couple other IDPs I was playing around with was the fact that they're going overseas to London, so they'll be traveling. Mm-hmm. And typically when there's London games, the offenses tend to be a little bit slower starting, a little bit more sluggish coming out of the gate, and they're more of a low-scoring game, so that'll get the defensive players a little bit more of a boost, able to read the quarterbacks and read players coming out of the backfield. And that Vikings defense is humming, and if you are in an IDP league, getting any pieces of that offense that you possibly can is a smart decision. I mean, I know they're going up against the Jets and Aaron Rodgers and Garrett Wilson and the Breece Halls, Braylon Allens, those Tyler Conklins, but if the Broncos showed us anything, they showed us a blueprint on how to stop Aaron Rodgers, and that's good linebacker play, strong cornerback play, and an intimidating defensive front, not giving any time and keeping the pressure on for Aaron Rodgers, so he wasn't able to do his thing like he did the Monday night before against the Patriots.
Yeah, man, he had 11 tackles. I'm looking at the San Francisco game. He had 13 tackles, 3 passes defended. Man, this dude has 70 points in week 2.
Yeah, he's all over the place, and it's like what Shawnee says too. He's on the field 100% of the time. He doesn't come off the field. So, and one other, cautionary tale to teams like the Vikings right now, having IDP players from those teams, is that their offenses are playing so well that the defenses aren't on the field that much. So, it limits the opportunities, but I'm confident enough in Blake Cashman and that Vikings defense that playing overseas against that offense, they'll have plenty of opportunities for turnovers and shutting down the Jets because, man, I don't know. Maybe you can tell me a better half of the story here, but is it more of the tale of a strong Denver Broncos defense or just an incompetent Jets offense that we saw this last weekend?
Well, I mean, you saw – because Bo Nix throw for 60 yards.
Shut down Cortland Sutton.
Patrick Surtain has been shutting down the number 1 since week 1.
So do you think going forward with those bye weeks, if you had the Eagles defense, the Eagles defense, the Lions defense, the Chargers or Titans defenses, do you think you could pivot and pick up off the waiver wire? The Broncos
I would look at the Broncos. I would look at the Broncos if you're looking at defenses.
They are playing the Raiders this week in Denver.
Yeah, exactly. They're playing the Raiders. So, just based off matchup, Pat Surtain's going to lock down Devontae Adams. So, it's going to be a lot of Brock.
If he plays.
Why wouldn't he? Is he hurt?
Yes, he missed last week because he's hurt. And then now there's been trade rumors going on over the weekend.
Dang. Yeah.
So we don't. The status is up in the air for the Raiders offense. Another concern for the Raiders offense is that Zamir White is ceding carries to Alexander Madison, and that running game is not competent. It has no tempo, no confidence whatsoever, which in turn isn't helping take the pressure off the passing offense. Gardner Minshew's have to play a little bit more hero ball, and he's no Josh Allen or Jalen Hurts. He can't, function under constant pressure and trying to have consistent big games and big plays. And he also doesn't really have the weapons to do that right now if Devontae Adams is out. I mean, Brock Bowers is emerging talent. He's still a rookie. Michael Mayer, still a young tight end, doesn't have that experience. The only competent player they have on that offense that's been consistently effective at this point has been Jacoby Myers. So I think personally the Denver Broncos could take advantage of that, and especially playing at home. There is a thing about playing in front of your fans. Like last night's game, it didn't really have an effect with the Titans just smashing the Dolphins in the Miami, because Miami didn't really have anything going on in offense. But if you watch that Lions-Seahawks game, you could tell the fans were really into it. They were causing false starts. They're getting loud, and they're having an effect on the opposing offenses. So, and the Denver Broncos now have momentum. They beat on the Jets. They feel confident. I mean, their offense didn't look strong though, but maybe that's because Patty was out of the offense. But
yeah. So I was gonna say, and then I mean, looking at that Miami game too, because I have New England as maybe another defense to stream. But yeah, no, I mean, Broncos, like you said, they have momentum. They're coming at home. The Raiders have all these things against them. I feel good about our defense, our offense picking it up. I mean, I'll take up and down weeks.
Were you happy with what you saw with Javonte Williams' little bounce back game?
I was, but at the same time, it's like, can he do that all the time?
We should be doing that every game.
Yeah, exactly.
15 carries and about 70, 80 yards.
Yeah, we don't have to threaten you with an undrafted rookie for you to do that. So,
yeah.
It was good to see that he did do it, but I mean, it's kind of like, the game Aaron Rodgers had 2 weeks ago. It kind of feels like that, like, are we going to see it every once in a while when we're still waiting for it, or what's the deal with it? So, I mean, it is what it is. I just hope McLaughlin picks it up and can solidify his spot. But I mean, I do like that our running game was rolling, that they are attempting to do something with it for sure. So I'll take that.
Yeah. So in wrap it up, if he's on your waiver wire on IDP leagues, go grab Cashman. Otherwise, if he's on a bench, start him up, fire him up. I have full confidence in him. And then if you have suffering some bye week players on your IDP and you're looking to try to make a move, see if anybody if you don't have them, see the owner who does have them, see if they're willing to come off of them, make a trade.
Yes. And I mean, and around here, guys, if you guys have been following us, I mean, there's only a few of you on right now, but I mean, you guys have been following us. You guys watch it on the replay. Normally we're talking PPR. So Justin, what are you saying when you say IDP for those of
independent defensive player?
Yeah.
So it's a player of the defense. Right? It could be any of the defensive positions, but it's just a player instead of, for most leagues, what they'll do is not have a team defense. They'll have like a linebacker spot or a defensive back spot, or just an overall, just sum up like it's an IDP spot where you can just throw any defensive player that's on any NFL team in that spot, and they substitute for a full defensive team. And most times than not, the strategy is using linebackers because they're the highest scoring defensive players. The lowest scoring defensive players tend to be cornerbacks or defensive backs, because
sometimes,
sometimes it really depends on the player, but more times than not, you're aiming for like a defensive lineman or linebacker or edge type of player. And then you're kind of leaning away from cornerbacks, because in today's offense, cornerbacks are so polarized. They're either like have really good games and shutting people down, or they're just getting lit up and torched and costing you a lot of points because they'll go in the negative.
Yeah. So, and I mean, I've been feeling like, defensive linemen haven't been scoring as high lately, but maybe that's just the teams I've been having. My defensive linemen
I mean, if you have an Aiden Hutchinson, you're happy. If you have like before you got hurt, a Micah Parsons or like players of that caliber on the line, you're happy.
Yep, very true. So then, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say. So, what did you for the first Monday Night Football game? Well, how did you feel about the performances you got out of Miami and Tennessee? Well, what was your biggest takeaways?
Man, I mean, I guess Tennessee went off, right? Somewhat
without Will Levis. He went out early on a play, reaching for the sticks and hurt his shoulder.
These older quarterbacks, man, they just stick around when they need it. They come in and they do what they're
Mason
supposed
Rudolph
to do,
came
right?
in and he was serviceable. He did the job. He relied on his running game, didn't make hero ball shots off deep.
And that running game, man, Pollard, I think that's probably the first time I've seen him run. He looked good, though. He looked really good.
And it was frustrating for people who had Miami players on defense if they were starting any of them because they're on the field the majority of the game and they were just tired and exhausted and just getting beaten down by that run game. The Titans offense was smart. They figured out the weakness of like, oh, we're just going to keep running the ball. We're just going to keep running because you can't stop it.
Well, I mean, I had Jordan Brooks and he went off.
Yeah.
Oh, he had like 58 points.
Yeah. It was unfortunate too for the pass catchers of the Titans if you had them because they didn't need to really utilize any of them like Chig or Josh Wiley or DeAndre Hopkins or Calvin Ridley because they were just running effectively between Tajay Spears and Tony Pollard.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of recipe that the Titans offense wants to do with that Callahan offense is just run it, and throw when they have to. I don't know if that's a symptom of not being confident with Will Levis in the passing game or not having enough plays drawn up throughout the week that they feel that will work consistently and they just lean on that running game. But last night it seemed to work for them on the road. They got their first win of the season, one more than the Jaguars, so they're not at the bottom of that division.
Right, which is a clump. Well, then the Jaguars just beat the Texans. Oh no, they lost.
Well, they lost because the Texans made a last-second drive, and
I don't know why in my mind I just think that they won.
Yeah. Well, they should have. There was 20 seconds left, and Stroud did Stroud things.
Nice. So, but back to our PPR people. Who are you starting? Who are you sitting? Who you got to change because they're benched? Are you going to replace them and hoping you get them back? What are you guys doing? So to switch it back over to PPR, Justin, we got your team of the week.
Yeah. This is my team of the week. A little bit different than last week. I'll try to switch it up here and there. I like a little variety. I don't like to use the same players every single week and beating it down your throat. I like to add a little variety.
Unless they're killing it.
These are also players I am confident in using this week. I'm confident in throwing them out there and starting them. Not quite set it, forget it. That's more Shawnee's department. I'm more of like these are good floor plays and good players to fill in for you when you're having those missing spots in your bye week and you need to have a little bit more of a for a little security going into late Sunday.
Yeah.
So I start off with Brock Purdy versus the Cardinals because I feel if Jada Daniels could do what he did against the Cardinals over the weekend, that Brock Purdy with more healthier offensive weapons, well, aside from Christian McCaffrey, but with Deebo Samuel, Ayuk, and Jennings and Kittle all healthy, he'll have plenty of opportunities to throw the ball a lot that game because I feel like the Cardinals are going to be playing from behind, so they're going to have to throw a lot and score points. So Brock Purdy will have to also answer that and throw the ball quite a bit more than he's usually known for doing these first few weeks because they've been relying on that Jordan Mason run game so well, and it's been working so well. So Brock Purdy versus the Cardinals, it's a home game too, and usually home quarterbacks tend to have that little bit of a cushion of performance when they're playing at home.
There you go. And then, I mean, yeah, Brock Purdy is the 13th ranked quarterback in PPR. He has 73.7 points so far this season. So, I
tried to keep it to a top 12 option, but looking at the numbers, he was just outside of it at 13, and I felt comfortable with the matchup from what we saw of the Cardinals defense against Jaden Daniels that Brock Purdy will be very confident and he'll be very comfortable just for you guys to start in your quarterback one spot.
Dude, they're projecting him to have around 244 yards. And they got him around 1.5 on the touchdown. So 1 to 2 touchdowns.
So about what he did last week, a little 200 yards in a TD.
Yep, he was at 288 in a tutty, but he had an interception last week. But he did have the 3 tutties the week before.
And it's a divisional game. Those games can get weird. You know, they could be high scoring games, it could be defensive stout games. But I feel with how the Cardinals came off the losing last week and they're going to want to be more aggressive on offense, so they'll require the San Francisco offense to stay on point and keep the pedal down and keep the pressure on them and put up points to counteract that.
Mm-hmm.
Now I have Josh Jacobs versus the Rams in my first running back spot to play this week because it's mostly a floor play. He's disappointed the last couple weeks because they haven't really relied on him to run the ball as much. I don't know if that's a component of them trying to preserve him and keep him healthy for long term, or it's that they are just their offense is switching gears to more of a passing attack. And I feel after that beatdown, essentially what they had against the Vikings this last weekend, I don't think they're going to want Jordan Love throwing the ball 50 plus times and for 4 touchdowns. I think they're going to rely more on controlling the clock, controlling the tempo, running the ball between Josh Jacobs and Emmanuel Wilson versus the Rams. It'll be a road game too. They're traveling halfway across the country. So the less pressure, the less stress they got to put on Jordan Love and keeping him healthy and just operating the offense. I think that's a better recipe for success for Josh Jacobs. I feel like they're going to have a lot of time on the clock because I don't see the Rams really posing a threat offensively. So if the Packers get out to a significant lead, I'd say probably a 2-score lead, you can see Josh Jacobs kind of really controlling that second half and closing the game out. I would probably project him to be just under 100 yards and maybe I'll say a touchdown, like a goal line carry or whatnot, but I don't see him busting off a huge run here and there. He'll get the volume of probably 20 to 25 carries and fill in that role as that workhorse running back.
There you go. And then they got him ranked on Sleeper as the 28th running back in PPR with 47.1 points so far this season. So his points have been, like you said, they haven't been the best. I mean, he 13, 16, 5, 11. So just kind of right there, I guess, where you'd look at a running back to a flex running back more so. But Josh Jacobs, right? You know, it's Green Bay Packers. They still, I feel like they still do like kind of a good job with their running game later in the season. So I don't think.
I think they'll be they'll come to play the Rams angry. That defensive line for the Rams is young and immature. Like they just don't have that experience under the belt. So I feel Matt LaFleur will expose that and rely heavily on the running game versus, like I said, Jordan Love throwing the ball 50 plus times and trying to get multiple touchdowns. I mean, the absence of Christian Watson now, he's likely to miss at least 1 to 2 weeks of that high ankle sprain that he sustained against the Vikings, and the tight ends, other than Kraft producing a little bit, I think Josh Jacobs will be well off enough to warrant you to put him in that first running back spot. And then pivoting over to Alvin Kamara versus the Chiefs. You know, I really think that this is the week that we finally see it. I feel like the Chiefs have gotten lucky. They've gotten a bit of a breeze of just good fortune their way. I know the Chiefs are playing at home, but I think if the Saints are smart and they play this right, they rely heavily on their running game, controlling the clock, keeping the ball out of Mahomes' hands, working that defense with those deep routes with Shaheed and Olave to spread the defense out, which then will create a lot of space and running room for Kamara between the tackles and out on the sidelines when Carr is looking for a safety blanket. And Alvin Kamara has shown that he can take advantage when defenses give him space, and he can punish them for it. So I think it'll be I don't know how Kamara did this last weekend. I didn't see his stats, but I know that I am confident that even though it's on the road against the Chiefs on primetime Monday night, if you're looking for a Monday night miracle, I think Alvin Kamara can deliver for you in your lineups if you have him there.
What? You don't think it's Kareem Hunt?
No. Like I said, the Chiefs, I just feel like with the injury to Rashee Rice, a lot of inconsistency with that offense. The passing offense is not consistent enough. The running game is non-existent. It's just their defense is overperforming and making up for the blemishes that are all over that offense right now. I mean, Travis Kelce is having to play better. He's having to do a lot. And that's why I have him in my tight end spot, is because the tight end landscape, I think he's going to get the most volume. He's going to get the most opportunities and the targets.
Yeah.
this week because there's really no other options for Patrick Mahomes really that he's confident in. And we've seen before in years past when Mahomes doesn't have wide receivers, he just feeds Kelsey and forces it to him. And for that, it benefits Travis Kelsey, but then it hurts the rest of the offense there, and it really makes them one-dimensional. So, I don't know. I think Alvin Kamara will outscore any combination of Chiefs running backs they put against them on Monday night. And I really think if the Saints want to get back to, they had a sour taste in their mouth losing to a division rival, the Falcons, on a last-second field goal last week. And I feel like they're just going to come back, count their eggs, and get it all ready to go to face the Chiefs and bring their A game. I don't think it's going to be a 40-point surge by any means, but I think it'll be just enough to warrant you to slot Alvin Kamara in that second running back spot, or even first.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm putting Alvin Kamara in the first spot. He's been number one.
Yeah, I would have him over Josh Jacobs too.
Of course. Yeah. No, he Alvin Kamara, 23 points, 50 points, 16 points, 25 points. Alvin Kamara is definitely a set and forget it.
And I think this is the week that the Chiefs are just gonna they're gonna, have to make little mistakes and have to be essentially perfect, because I feel like the Saints are more than capable. They've shown us in the first 2 weeks that they can put up points and they can punish defenses if they give them enough time and space to operate.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Nope, I'm right there with you. That's a good one right there, man.
And then for my first wide receiver, I picked CeeDee Lamb against the Steelers. I know it's a scary thought. It's a hot take, but that's what I like to do sometimes in these lineups. I like to throw a hot take in there and not, keep the ho-hum, set it and forget it, people. And I know CeeDee Lamb should be, but versus that Steelers defense, Sean will be the first to tell you that's a tough assignment. He's going to have the Minka Fitzpatrick shadow. But if you look at the Cowboys offense right now, they have no running game. Zeke isn't cutting it. Rico Dowdle is getting more of the share, but he hasn't really established himself in that offense running the ball. So that's relying on Dak Prescott to just over target and hyper target CeeDee Lamb. And I think it's more of a volume based thing more than a performance or production based, where he's just going to get 10, 15 targets plus, and just maybe one of them breaks for a touchdown, a big play, but he's just going to get so much volume that it's hard to bet against him not producing to a wide receiver one level this week against the Steelers. And it's a primetime game Sunday night. And, the Cowboys like to put up big points on primetime.
Well, I mean, either way, he's going to get his. CeeDee Lamb is number 12 receiver in PPR. He has right now 75 points. So he's on a pretty good pace. 32 targets, 20 receptions, 316 yards. He's doing pretty good this season and definitely earning that contract. So I like that pick. I mean, I like all these picks, but yeah, I think that's a good
I appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah. And let me know, people. Let me know what you think about my lineup so far, what you've seen. If you agree with it, disagree with it, if you have any questions, comments on it, feel free. I love to hear the feedback. I love it. And with Mike Evans versus the Falcons as my second wide receiver spot, that was more my secure. I'm looking for CeeDee Lamb to be my boom, big play receiver to get chunk points, whereas Mike Evans here, I think they're going to be death by 1,000 cuts. They're going to feed it to him. They'll be throwing the ball a lot against the Falcons on Thursday night, and he's going to be the recipient of that. Chris Godwin will get his, maybe a little Kate Otten, but that running game now in Tampa is a little uncertain. We don't know if it's the Bucky Irvin backfield, if it's the Rachaad White backfield still. And Baker Mayfield's guy is Mike Evans. He's shown it in the past, and he's proven it this year that, if you want a touchdown and about 100 yards, Mike Evans is, the safest bet to get you that week in and week out against that Falcons defense. Another division game, and those are crazy. They can be boomy or they can be busty. And I feel like the Falcons and the Buccaneers are going to put up points and make it more of a boomy game to start off our week for fantasy football in the NFL.
There you go. Mike Evans is ranked number 15 right now in PPR with 61 points, so not too far behind CeeDee Lamb. But I mean, Mike Evans is always, if you have Mike Evans, you're playing Mike Evans, right? They said that they want to get the ball to Mike Evans more. So you saw last week they made an effort to get the ball to Mike Evans, and he went off. He went off for 23 points. He had 94 receiving yards, a tutty, and 8 receptions. So,
and that's kind of the standard with him. It's always been like 8 to
Yep.
10 catches, 100 yards, and a touchdown. You can count on it.
Yeah. So,
and then we touched a little bit on it with Travis Kelce, but I think he's just a opportunity of circumstance. Like there's no really options over there and against the Saints, and I think the Saints will really bottle up the run game, forcing Mahomes to throw the ball. And who else does Mahomes have more confidence in than throwing the ball to than Travis Kelce if he gets open and finds those holes in space? So out of the tight end landscape, I think he's probably going to be, the top option there that you can go with if you have him.
Yeah, no, that's for sure. I mean, like you said it best. He led the Chiefs passer after Rashid Rice went down. He's going to lead them again. It's going to be back to being the Travis Kelce show. So, if you were, kind of on the fence about him, I would probably definitely play Kelce this weekend. And I mean, you're always playing him though, right? Who else do you have? If you have Travis Kelce, you probably didn't draft any other tight ends, or you probably try to trade him or something, but hold on to him. He went off last week. I know he's been a dud these past few weeks, but that's been the Chiefs' offense, right? I mean,
he's going to have to be from here on out until, Xavier Worthy steps up more consistently, or one of these other wide receivers comes out of the pack and separates himself to prove that Mahomes has another option he can confidently throw to.
Yep, that is true. So, I mean, that right there, I probably have stayed away from Kelce for my own personal reasons, but
yeah,
if you have
me, totally fair too.
Yeah.
And then my flex here is just pure revenge game. Stephon Diggs versus the Bills at home, and I feel like he's just going to be the recipient of a big game here, playing against his former team. He's kind of a diva, so what is he going to want to do? Prove a point. Make an exclamation point, put his stamp on the game. And I feel like CJ Stroud will feed it to him. Like Nico will get his and the other players will get his, but when the play has to happen and they're vibing, they feel the tempo, it's most likely probably going to go Stephon Diggs' way, and he should have a big game. Maybe a couple tutties, not quite so much the yards, but he'll definitely make an impact, extending the drives, moving the chains, making those big plays to just kind of, throw it in his former team's face. Not that there was really like some turmoil between them and him leaving. It's just, he seems to just be that sort of guy that he likes to make his statements and, be that sort of diva wide receiver role.
Yeah. And I mean, and honestly, you look at it too. I mean, he's like, it's like 1A, 1B. 1A, 1B. It's not like 1-2, but I mean, he's still the number 9 wide receiver in the league. Nico Collins went off last week and has been going off. So, I do foresee this being, Stephon's week, regardless against the Bills or whomever. Like, it was going to be his week to eat even more because he still gets his. I mean, he has 68 points right now through 4 games, which is freaking unreal. 33 targets. So still getting the same amount of targets as these other number 1 receivers on teams, with 25 receptions, 233 yards. Only difference being, a lot of his targets and, are coming on the short yardage situations to get him those tutties. But he has 2 touchdowns already in the season, and they're still, they're getting the ball to him. So,
I think everyone who's drafted him this year is really happy of where they drafted him and the production they've gotten out of him. And he's really he's proven that he's a solid wide receiver to have on your team so far to start the year.
Yeah, I feel like there was a lot of people that were down on him to start the year because of what it was. And I don't know. There's just certain players you see, and it's like, okay, they went that route for a certain reason. It wasn't because that was the only option they had. There was a vision. There's something going on. So, yeah, I think that I would probably, I don't know. I would probably flip him with Mike Evans, I would say.
Okay. That's totally fair too.
Yeah. I would flip him with Mike Evans, but even still, I think that's still a solid receiving core. I'd be happy to have that receiving core.
Right. And you kind of could have if you drafted well enough. You took CD Lamb as your first wide receiver, took Mike Evans your second, and then, further down, let people slip and let them slide, and you just picked up Stephon Diggs on the cheap.
Yeah, but you wouldn't have gotten Travis Kelce.
No.
No, you might have gotten Kamara, but you might not have
Like
gotten CeeDee
Travis Kelce,
Lamb.
you would have gotten from a disgruntled owner from the first couple
Yeah,
weeks and pulled off a
true.
trade
Yeah,
for him.
you could have traded like maybe like AJ Brown or someone for him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see that. So then, yeah, you got your kicker,
My
Austin
kicker is
Beaver,
solely a product of this Washington offense, just whole
rolling,
humming,
rolling,
just
rolling,
buzzing
rolling.
and rolling and rolling. And I don't know the exact stats, but he's had double-digit points since he's taken over that role as the Washington kicker, I think, on week 2. So he's making his kicks. He's doing what he's got to do to get points. And, with Washington's offense, how it's performing, they're going to meet this Browns defense, which is a solid enough defense that it might slow down that offense just a little bit. And that's perfect recipe for kickers, that you have that offense that can make it down the field, get in close, not quite put the ball into the end zone. So then that way their kickers get to get you 3 solid points each drive by not having the offense putting it in the end zone every time. And I feel like the Browns will do just enough, slow down Commanders just enough where Austin Seibert could have another double-digit performance this weekend.
Bro, this dude has 42 fantasy points so far.
And he's only started since week 2. Like, he didn't play the first week. He wasn't on a team, I don't think. And he took over that role. And I think the byproduct of Jaden Daniels just playing out of this world right now has helped because he's getting extra points. He's getting field goal attempts. And, it's like what I always say, too, volume is king. And right now he's getting the volume, kicking the ball with the Commanders driving the ball down the field.
Yep. So, yeah, he had 11 points last week, 9 points week 3, and 22 points in week 2. Dude was killing it.
And that'll help you. And some people, when you have injuries in your lineup and you're like, oh, crap, I got a goose egg. When you're getting 10 to 20 points from your kicker, that helps.
Yep. That definitely helps. So what about you guys? Like, who do you? I guess we'll finish it. So we got your defense.
I'll let you take this one. You know why I picked the Broncos? Because the Raiders are gonna Raider.
The Raiders are gonna Raider. Who do they have they're throwing into? Like you said, Devontae Adams. Is probably out. In which case,
it hasn't been confirmed yet. I do not know, but like with all this stuff going on behind the scenes and his injury thing happening. There's no clarity. That's really foggy. Like I like to aim on the edge of he's probably not going to play, which sucks for your lineups, and that's unfortunate. And even if he does play, he's gonna get that Patrick Surtain shadow, and he showed it with Garrett Wilson last week, and he showed it the week before with the other wide receivers he went up against. Like he's a shutdown safety, and he takes care of business. I think the Broncos will do enough on offense to keep the game out of reach for the Raiders, forcing them to throw more and make more mistakes or just silly play calling and I like the fact that the Broncos are playing at home. I like that home effect. And right now, when you go on the road across the country and beat that offense and the Jets and just really demoralize that team, it really gives that momentum and that effect that it gives the offense hope. Like, okay, our defense is taking care of us. Our defense is helping us out. Now let's help out our defense by staying on the field, keeping them rested and off the field, and putting up points on the board. That way it puts the pressure on the Raiders to make big plays or big splashes. And when that sort of happens with offenses like the Raiders, as inconsistent as they are, that leaves the door open for sacks and mistakes like interceptions or fumbles. And the Raiders have shown this year they're susceptible to that. They're susceptible to throwing interceptions and fumbling it and just not having a competent, consistent offense enough.
Yeah, I was about to say, man, what if Devontae Adams goes to the Jets?
I think with that whole story, I don't think he's getting traded in the AFC. I don't think he's going to an AFC team. I don't think the Raiders would be that dumb to dump him off to another team in the conference that could potentially fight him.
If it's a nice package, Kansas City will offer a bunch of first-round picks. They don't care.
Yeah, well, from what I've been looking at and sourcing out, I think the Chiefs are more going towards Amari Cooper. I think that's their target for a wide receiver. Amari
Wow.
Cooper's always also like in an offense that he's frustrated in. The contract talks haven't been working since the offseason. He wants an extension. The Browns aren't talking with him or giving him what he's wanting. So I think from what I have my ear to the ground on is that they're more pursue. I imagine they would go after an Adams if the opportunity was to rise, but I think their primary target focus is the Amari Cooper right now. I can see Devontae Adams going to a team like maybe he goes back to the Packers with this Watson injury. Maybe he goes to I don't know. I just don't see I don't see it as an AFC team because I don't think the Raiders would do that.
Would you trade him if you had him?
In fantasy?
Yeah.
Oh, I'd definitely be trading for him. Devontae Adams is a wide receiver one. He's a proven talent. And he's got the potential for big performances week in and week out. It's just when he's been with the Raiders, he's on an inept offense that just cannot keep him fed and happy in the way he was seeing when he was in Green Bay. Like his ceiling is capped where he's at right now. If he gets traded somewhere, he's going to be in a much better situation. He's going to be putting up his old numbers, or at least close to it as he used to, depending on the situation. But anywhere but Las Vegas is a better option for him. I would be trading for him right now. He's hurt. I know that. I get that. But the season's long, it's longer now. So,
Shoot. So what about the Commanders?
That would be amazing. That would be amazing for Jaden Daniels, having Terry McLaurin on one side and Devontae Adams on the other side. Like, fire that up. I mean, holy crap. Like, that would even help Scary Terry out, too, because then he doesn't have the pressure of being the wide receiver one. He can find those holes, get into those gaps.
He can just be that over-the-top guy and just take it off the top.
That's a good call, Seth. I think that was the best probably possible team that he could go to right now is the Commanders.
I was going to say Commanders are – I was just looking at this comment here, and it was like, yeah.
Another one that probably would help too. I don't know how with the chemistry or whatever, but think about the Arizona Cardinals giving young Marvin Harrison Jr. the mentor as someone to develop next to, play with, get that experience with, and have that pressure taken off of him having to be that wide receiver one.
But if he's mad in Oakland though, or if he's mad in Las Vegas. I don't think he's going to be too much happier out in Arizona.
Well, I think, Kyler Murray would make him happy. He'd be able to get the ball to him just as much as Daniels could, I think. And I think there's like a team basis standpoint of like, if
I think it's going to be AFC. They're only asking for a second round. Additional compensation.
I mean, it's like how I picked with it. Raiders are going to Raider. I can see him traded in division. Maybe he goes to the Chargers. I don't know.
Not in division. What about like the Steelers? Like a team they don't think.
Nah, I don't see a player like that just doesn't fit the Steelers mold. They don't want to win.
What about Dallas?
Dallas has way too many problems, and they already had to pay. Like
CD was already mad. Yeah.
I feel like that could add more fuel to the fire. I do like the two that we've come up here with the Cardinals and the Commanders because I think they both help the existing receiving core that those teams have already. And he would bet because you're not looking at keeping Devontae Adams for more than 2-3 years. He's 31 now.
I mean, you got to remember the Lions did, trade Hawkinson to the Vikings.
Yeah. Well, that's because they saw the writing on the wall. They weren't able to pay Hawkinson the one he wanted to pay him.
I mean, the Chiefs needed a wide receiver.
Yeah. If I was the Raiders front office, I would not be trading him in division, definitely, and I would not be trading inside the conference because that is just never a good move to begin with for for your team. If you're giving up this talent and then you're going to put them back out there in the same conference that you ultimately might have to come across against later on, that it more often than not, it bodes well for a bad effect.
Oh, Von Miller suspended for 4 games.
What did he do this time?
Violating the NFL's personal conduct policy per Adam Schefter. Let me see if I can pull it up and see.
What a fall from grace.
I am. If I pull it up, I'll say it, but I'm not gonna say stuff. I want to just say
Mhm.
stuff and not know.
Yeah.
Von Miller's
That's
my dude.
unfortunate because he was so good with the
Yeah,
Broncos and he got his Super Bowl with the Rams and
yeah. He got 2 Super Bowls. Got it with the
Mhm.
Broncos, got it with the Rams, and then almost got it with the Bills, but the Bills just couldn't pull it off.
Yep.
What do you think about their Super Bowl window?
I think it's still there. I still a possibility. I mean, with how shaky and fragile the Chiefs look right now, and how the Bengals have been playing, and the Dolphins have been playing, I feel like the field of competition, the AFC, is really thinned out. You got the Ravens there. You got now the Steelers playing well. You got the Jets being shaky. Like, there's room for things to like go in their favor and go in their way if these other teams keep playing inconsistent, bipolar, like Jekyll and Hyde, like football.
Yeah. So speaking of that, yeah. I mean, I don't know. Sorry, I was reading this report. It said the Raiders
No,
had
you're all good. You're all good.
I was trying to see if I could see it with if there was any team names that they reached out to him, but no.
Mm-hmm.
Dang, that'd be. Sorry. Uh, yeah, but what was the question again?
You said is the window for the Bills closing for the
Yeah,
Super Bowl.
yeah, and yeah. So
But I think it's still open because it's just how the shaky the play has been in the AFC right now. Like, you don't have like a consistent team. Yeah, the Chiefs are winning
yeah,
games, but you know, how solid has that been? Like, the Ravens are now winning games again, but they also showed at the start of the year that like they're human too. Like, they have some flaws there. They have some,
but they both have been beating the
opportunities
Bills
for
though.
slipping up.
They both have been beating the Bills in the playoffs though. I
Yes,
think the
exactly.
Bills
That's
haven't
their
been able to
kryptonite.
take that lead. So,
The
but I
Bills
mean,
definitely have a hump
with
that they need to get over.
well, they have Miami. They don't have to worry about Miami so much. So that should be, a fairly easier window to the division for them.
Yeah,
One
as
would
long as Tua
think.
stays out of the picture, I think that Miami is in a desperate situation there.
Yeah, you don't do you
Because I
don't
can
see the
totally see the
Jets.
Bills now taking that division. You
I
got
was
the
gonna say you
Jets
don't
playing
see the Jets
inconsistently.
challenging.
You
Yeah.
got the Patriots, rebuilding or retooling for the most part, and then you got
Mhm.
Miami now that's just kind of fallen off, losing their quarterback. So it's the Bills' division to take. At the start of
Mhm.
the season, I think I took in our rankings, I took the Bills to win the division. I think, or it could have been the
Yeah.
Dolphins, but
So I mean, going from that and just to pivot over to another division. Oh, look, we got Nino Pena wants some trade advice. What up,
yes,
Nino
hit me with
Pena?
this.
Hit us with it one more time. While we wait on Nino Pena, though, I was gonna say switching over. Let's jump over to the NFC real quick.
Yeah, here we go.
Something that's near and dear to your heart. Are the Minnesota Vikings the team to beat in the NFC
Um,
right
if you're
now? Just
right now,
not like I guess overall, but right now, I guess are they the hottest team in the NFC?
but yeah, I'd give them their dues. They're overperforming their expectations. They're overachieving what we expected from them since at the beginning of the year. No one saw this coming from Sam Darnold. No one saw this coming, or they should have saw this coming, but they wrote Aaron Jones off because he's older. He's not going to really hold that running back room down. Tyson Chandler was going to give his, 2 cents in there and be more of an active member in that offense. And with TJ Hawkinson being hurt and out, that the passing game is just going to be all heavily reliant on Justin Jefferson, and Sam Darnold was going to hyper target him. But like, I give the Vikings their props. They are doing extremely well despite the expectations they had giving into the season by the national media and by a lot of fantasy football pundits in our universe too. Sam Darnold is really, really playing for a reason. They should re-sign him next year and just let JJ McCarthy keep sitting on the pine and learning and growing in a good way. Though this is the best case scenario for the Vikings because they don't have to force rush JJ McCarthy coming back in to play right away, take over that offense, disrupt the flow that Sam Darnold has cultivated and created these first 4 games. He's proven he can win big games, and he's proven he can win against big teams. They beat the Niners. They beat the Texans. Now they beat the Packers. 2 of those games were at home, yes, but going into Lambeau and beating the Packers is not an easy feat up here. That's a very hard task to ask of a quarterback. And his wide receivers have been stepping up and giving him all the help that he can ever ask for. Addison coming back from injury, having a big game, multi-touchdown, and being a weapon out of different sides of the field. Justin Jefferson being that steady Eddie, Mike Evans clone of just 100 yards and a touchdown every week, providing that strength and that confidence that Darnold needs to keep throwing the way he does. And then also Naylor filling in for Addison when he was hurt as a respectable wide receiver 3, being put in a wide receiver 2 spot opposite of Jefferson. And that defense, Brian Flores has them humming. He has them cohesively playing together as a team. He has them in the locker room, and he has them showing what they are practicing on the field week in and week out, and bringing it on game day every single week, and putting teams in pressure points and forcing them to make mistakes and causing turnovers. Like, the Vikings are absolutely at the moment the team to beat in the NFC. They're undefeated, and are undefeated off of a very hard first 4 games. Sorry, aside from the Giants, which, they didn't really start off really well, but, they've done the best that anybody could have saw coming. Like, to be 4-0 with that schedule, that first 4-game schedule, and for the most part, they're healthy, they're getting better, and their offense is working. And Aaron Jones is really doing a great job in helping bail out Darnold and not having to have the whole offense on his shoulders. Him running the ball effectively as he can and catching the ball out of the backfield. It's impressive what they're doing. Not a lot of people saw it coming, and I think, going forward, the Lions have a bye week this week. The Packers are going to play angry against the Rams. The Bears I pass. I'm not even going to talk about the Bears. And then, so it's just, they got the target on their back now in the NFC. Like, not just in the NFC North, like the Niners are aging out, or not looking to be as top dog as they have been in the past few years. The Seattle Seahawks are on the rise. They're not quite there yet. They gave the Lions a good run for their money, and they've shown how the Lions and the Seahawks are like the 2 up and coming, front runners to go for the championship in the NFC. And now the Vikings have thrown their hat in too. So it's a very competitive conference. But if you were to say just after these 4 games, absolutely, Vikings are the team to beat in the NFC. Packers gave them their best shot, but the Vikings show that they bent and they didn't break. But I think where their Achilles heel is going to be is if they're going to continue being this effective on offense, that defense needs to have that killer instinct and put teams away and shut them down. And the coaching staff needs to have better play calling and more like situational awareness of you're up 28-0, probably shouldn't be throwing with the quarterback another 20 times and putting him susceptible for throwing interceptions or making mistakes and having the opportunities for teams to come back like the Packers did.
Do you well, here, let's get to this question. We got this question he's 4-0 on a 10-man team and really looks nice besides tight end, obviously. Is this a reasonable overpay to solidify his tight end position and trade Andrews and BTJ? Who's BTJ?
Brian Thomas Jr., wide receiver, rookie for the Jacksonville Jaguars.
I always want to call him Brian Robinson Jr.
B. Rob. We could do it as a bit. That'd be funny. Just B-Rob Jr. 2.0.
He wants to trade Andrews and BTJ for McBride, which...
Do you want to take this one first, or do you want me to do it?
Well, here, I'll let you take it only because I'm trying to get this question on the Instagram.
All right, yeah, I'll take it. I say absolutely smash this trade. Take advantage of Brian Thomas Jr. resurgence of having a couple big games here flowing with Trevor Lawrence. I mean, if it's not a dynasty league, definitely make this trade and redraft. I wouldn't be waiting around any longer on the Mark Andrews iffy, willy, should he, could he come back? Because
Right.
Trey McBride should be back here in a week or two. And when he does come back, he's just going to be that stud tight end that the Cardinals offense needs. And he's going to be heavily relied upon, high volume. He's going to be a security blanket for when Marvin Harrison Jr. isn't open for Kyler Murray. And it's going to really open up the field for those other pieces. So I would say if it's redraft, definitely smash that trade. In Dynasty even, I think I'm leading that trade too because I don't really believe in the Jaguars offense under Doug Peterson anymore with what we've seen out of Trevor Lawrence and the running game. Like, yeah, this is good potential. This is great value you're seeing out of Brian Thomas Jr. For me, I'm selling him high right now after these 2 big weeks and seeing what I can get. And definitely for Dynasty, like getting McBride, he's a young, up-and-coming, talented tight end, and we know that landscape is barren. I think Mark Andrews is essentially washed, but I think he's aging out, and he's just not going to be that old Mark Andrews that we saw and we loved this first few years he was with the Ravens. So definitely go for it, Nino. I like that trade. It's in your favor.
Yeah, I think that's going as well too. Like you said, I mean Andrews isn't really doing much. Brian Thomas Jr. I mean I think he's doing decent in that Jags offense over there. That's who you want.
He is.
From the
Like,
Jaguars. If
the way
you
I
are
see
gonna
it
have
too is like
someone-
Ingram is going to be coming back when he gets healthy. Kirk is probably going to have more of a resurgent too and take some volume share out of there. And at some point between Tank Bigsby and Travis Etienne, that Jaguars team needs to establish the run. So right now he's the benefactor.
He's running with Godwin and Diggs right now as his receiver.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like, you got Devonta Smith. He'll be back. He'll be healthy. Cooper Kupp, he'll be back and healthy in a few weeks. So you can really rely heavily on Godwin and Diggs. Smash those in your wide receiver 1 and 2. When Smith comes back, he'll be your flex or wide receiver 3, and you'll have a tight end that it's not going to be. He's going to get targets and volume because Mark Andrews has proved for the first 4 weeks he's still in single digits for targets and receptions.
Yeah. So I don't want to touch on this a whole lot because we do need an opinion.
No, you got it.
But I just had a question. We were talking about the Vikings. Do you think they'd be as good if McCarthy were playing? Do you think he'd look like Jaden Daniels or if he'd look more like Bo Nix?
Honestly, I do not think this offense would be this efficient and this productive if under JJ McCarthy, because JJ McCarthy is a different player than Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold is now in the stage of a career. He's not, as gun shy. He's not necessarily a gunslinger, but he knows his reads. He knows who to target. He knows where the offense is running out of. He has that NFL experience. He knows how to lead a team. Because he's also been through the ringer. He's been through the bad stuff. So he's seen it. He's aware of it. He knows how to adjust now. We're seeing that in the right system, in the right offense, the right coaches. It's to his benefit, and it's working out for him. Where JJ, I think, is more of a project, and I don't think the Vikings offense would be running as a fit. He'd be more of a game manager. He'd be too worried about not making mistakes, keeping the ball on their side of the field, to keep the turnovers to a minimum. He wouldn't have these probably big plays that Sam Darnold is doing, bombing it to Jefferson for 70 yards and, throwing it all over the place against tough defenses like the Texans and the Niners and the Packers. Those are intimidating defenses to go through the first 3 weeks. And as a rookie, what we've seen from the rookie quarterback landscape, for the most part, even Caleb Williams isn't invincible to it. Like, he's having a slow start to his season. Bo Nix is having a slower start to his season. Drake May is not in that offense yet, unless if the Pats really get down, and you saw that they put him in just in garbage time. Jaden Daniels is flourishing in his by necessity because they really don't have that much other options to begin the season with. What they were confident in, it was Jaden Daniels and everyone else because, yes, Terry McLaurin was there, and he was, he just didn't have a quarterback, and now Jaden is unlocking him. Eckler got hurt, and Robinson's just taking over that workhorse load in the running back room. So I honestly think the J.J. McCarthy injury was a blessing for the Vikings in disguise that they weren't aware of at the beginning of the season. I feel I wouldn't think it'd be as high as a 4-0 start, but I don't also think it would be as low as an 0-4 start. I think they would probably be at 1-3 or 2-2.
Well, I mean, they're basically doing what Atlanta had planned to do, right? So
Yep.
we're seeing how it should look at the best
Mhm.
best case scenario.
And I think going forward for J.J. McCarthy's career, I think if the Vikings play this smartly, they especially if Darnold takes them to the playoffs. If Darnold takes them to the playoffs and if he wins the playoff games there, I think he's earned the merit to get re-signed and be the starter going into next year, and let JJ develop and learn and have more of a Jordan Love effect where he waits his turn. I don't think JJ McCarthy is like a Jaden Daniels or a Bo Nix or a Caleb Williams where you can throw them out there right away and have them run that offense. I feel like he's more of a game manager. He needs to learn the system. He needs to learn the offense and the plays and the players before he be out there to succeed and perform and be a productive member of the team. So
keep going.
It's a good problem to have for the Minnesota Vikings.
There you go. I think it is, and it's working out best case scenario. I don't know so much about re-signing Darnold, but I mean they probably should either way. But hey, let's cut away real quick. I'm gonna cut away real quick to Shady Sports promo, and we'll be right back on the other side. We'll get back into this. This is some juicy stuff, and then we got a question in from Stefano Vlog, so we'll touch on that real quick.
Yeah, I love questions.
Yeah. So thank you guys for watching us. Been tuning in. You're watching Shady Sports Fantasy Football Reports on Shady Sports Network. This is season 3 of the show. We keep it going, man. We've been at it for a while. I've been at it for a while. Justin joined me that started this season, and we've been rolling, man. Me, him, and Shawnee. Normally,
he picked me up on his bus. He saw me.
I'm the bus driver, man.
I'm just
on the
sitting there like,
bandwagon. Yep, exactly. So we got Justin. I'm driving it along, and we got Justin hanging out in the middle of the bus, just telling you guys all the good stories.
Just that kid who hasn't found his stop yet, just sitting there,
just talking, just keep and we'll keep it
just
going.
Keeps talking to Stead's back of his head. He's just driving the bus. Hey, Stead, what do you think about the Broncos?
Yeah, no, you're bringing some good stuff. So we got Stefano Vlogs. Thank you guys for tuning in. Nino Pena.
Yeah, thanks for those questions. Nino, that was great. I love it.
And now we got Stefano Vlogs. Hello, buds. Who do you think is going to win on Thursday night between the Falcons and Bucks?
Hello, man. Stefano. You started with
good game.
You get in
that
here.
Should be a good Thursday night game, honestly. Stefano. I don't know. I'm gonna go with the Bucks only because the Bucks are rolling. The Bucks are looking like a, not a well-oiled machine, but they went into Philly with a mission to not have what happened here in Denver.
I was not expecting that beatdown. They put it to Philly's mouth after taking that beatdown by the Broncos. They're like, not twice.
Yeah. And they went out there and they put it down on Philly. So Atlanta has a few issues, though, right? What were you just saying last week? I think it was, Justin, right? You were saying you're out on all Atlanta players.
I'm just frustrated.
I'm
very frustrated is the word. I'm frustrated with how the offense is using Bijan and Pitts. And I'm frustrated that, London's not consistent enough as he should be at this point in his career. And I'm frustrated with how Kirk Cousins has started his year shaky and high-low, just not very consistent enough. That Atlanta offense is frustrating, but that Atlanta defense though is impressing me. They're improved from last year. They're ball hawks. They are stopping drives. They're doing the most that they can to help out their offense, and it's their offense that's letting them down. It's mostly that coaching staff. They are not figuring out how to use those players. We cannot blame anymore this Arthur Smith effect and that coaching staff. They got a new OC. They got a new head coach. The play calling should be better. You should be feeding Bijan Robinson the ball, making him the center of your game plan. I mean, wasn't them in the offseason talking about how they were going to use Bijan as like the CMC role, like have him be the next Christian McCaffrey and catching the ball in the backfield and running the ball? And what is their answer to that? They give Tyler Algier
using Algier
carries a game. Yes, he's
Yeah.
1,000-yard rusher last year, but he is on the depth chart, the backup, where he should be. He should be in situational downs and situational plays. You should not be taking Bijan Robinson off the field for this guy. Bijan Robinson is far and away more talented than Tyler Algier. Yes, Algier is good. He's great in his role, but it's kind of like the situation where they're like trying to like prove this point of like, yeah, we need Algier. We need you here. You're great. We're just going to keep feeding you. And it's victimizing the rest of that offense of Pitts getting basically the lowest production of his entire career. Drake London is, well, Ced could tell you, just be Drake London. And Kirk Cousins is just, panicking. He's showing a lot of like lack of leadership or just solidness in that pocket.
Has he ever had leadership though? I don't know.
Yeah, he did very well with the Vikings and with the Commanders when he had to like perform, but he just couldn't show up in the primetime games. But like, he just looks like a man who's there riding his bag and just trying to stay healthy and play as many games as he can and ride out the rest of his career. He isn't dominating by any means. He's not commanding that offense. I mean, he looks very much like, I don't know, this is the play calling. I'm just doing what they're giving me. I'm not taking control. I'm not dominating game. I mean, you saw glimpses of it against the Eagles on the Monday night game, but it's not consistent enough to where that offense needs to be what we were all told and promised in a fantasy world of how it was going to be. Like Drake London was going to be this solid set and forget it wide receiver one. Bijan was going to be the debatable, arguable number one pick in fantasy drafts, and it's not the case. Like, I'm frustrated with the Falcons, and I'm mostly in their fantasy assets. I'm selling most of them, but at the same time, I still believe in Bijan and the talent, and I'd be buying him on a low if there's other people out there that are frustrated about that offense. So as far as who I'm picking for Thursday night's game, I'm going to go with the better offense and the more consistent defense, and that would be the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yep.
Like, I just feel that if the Falcons get down in this game, they haven't shown that they can overcome their own problems and just their own worst enemy and their obstacles, that because the Bucs are too dangerous of an offense to get in a shootout with or get in an offensive battle with. I mean, the Broncos can handle it, and they took them to the woodshed, but Philly learned the hard way, and they're a better offense than the Falcons, in my opinion. So I like it to be a close game, though. I like it to be a competitive, fantasy relevant game. I'd hate for it to just be like all the Bucs players go off, and once again the Falcons players are just bus essentially.
Well, I don't think it'll be that. It's a division game.
Yeah, and those games are weird. They're very competitive. Yeah. They can be very edgy and stressful.
Yeah, they know these teams. So I just saw this sticking in that division. I saw this stat and wanted to share it. Deontay Johnson. So here, let me pull it up so I can read it. It says Deontay Johnson, 2 games with Bryce Young, 5 receptions, 34 yards. 2 games with Andy Dalton, 15 receptions, 205 yards, 2 touchdowns.
What do you think about that stat?
I was going to say, what are your thoughts on that?
Oh, for me, my thoughts are 2 entirely different quarterbacks. You have a year 1 quarterback going into year 2 with no confidence, no offensive line, and no sense of reading the offense whatsoever. It just shows his study and his work off the field is showing it on the field, and it's not translating from year 1 to year 2. He's not taking that step forward. So it's half on the bag on him, but also Panthers, you got to give him an offense that he works in. And obviously it's shown that he doesn't work in that offense, and hence why he's benched. And Andy Dalton is such a sniper and just a cerebral player in this league, and why he's still in this league for so long, because he's effective and he just gets enough done to stay around in the league, and he's competent, and he's got those older weapons there. And Deontay Johnson, who is no scrub, but he was also a victim to quarterback play. And it's shown the difference between the youth and the inexperienced movement that the Panthers are rolling with Bryce Young to start the year is translating to making the switch being better off for Deontay Johnson, because Andy Dalton knows who his number one target is, and he knows who to go to in a pinch, and he's delivering the ball to their number one guy when his other reads aren't working out. And it's translating into big plays, and defenses haven't figured it out yet. They're probably, they're all planning and plotting on this easy, Bryce Young offense to, go through. And now with Andy Dalton in the picture, it's just like, okay, well, he knows how to pick apart defenses. He knows how to find his reads, and Deontay Johnson's a benefactor of that new revitalized offense. I don't by means I think that the juggernaut the Panthers are going to be putting up a bunch of points, but I feel like they'll be more competitive in games now, which will, translate into more relevant fantasy players like Chuba Hubbard. He's being fantastic.
I was going to say, and then we got Stefano. Stefano, thanks for chilling with us.
Yeah.
Thanks for hanging and shouting out. Let me know if you guys want to come on and join us live. You're more than welcome. So he just says he agrees. The Bucks have a better chance.
Ooh, I didn't know that they're underdogs.
They're projected as the underdogs, which is weird. Like, I guess it's because it's in Atlanta. Is it in Atlanta?
Yeah, it's in Atlanta.
Yeah. So, but looking at that, like, okay, so let's look at these teams, though. I mean, are you going Rachaad White or are you going Chuba?
I'm going Chuba against the Bears based off volume, opportunity, chances. He's gotten, 15 to 20 carries now in the last 2 games, and he's got a bunch of touchdowns and a lot of yards. Whereas, like, what I've touched base with before, that Bucks running back room is up in the air. It's the split is on. It was 50-50 last week. It was 60-40 the week before that. And I think it's going to be more 70-30 Bucky Irving to Rachaad White. I, in a handful of my leagues, sold Rachaad White because I saw the writing on the wall. I see when the coaches come out and tell you that this person has earned the right to get more playing time and more opportunities and more touches. That's just not, coach speak or word salad to me. That's like, he's shown it. He had big runs. He's had he's taken advantage of his opportunities and been more efficient with running the ball. Whereas Rachaad White has just been living off his laurels as I was a starter last year. I was good last year. I'm going to have that role this year. I'm healthy. And he's being less efficient with it, but he has the title of the running back 1 on the depth chart. It'll show White is 1 and Bucky is 2, but it's more or less becoming a 1A, 1B committee role. And for me personally, I practice what I preach. I sold away my Rachaad White shares. I spent fab 20% of it most times on Bucky Irving, and I'm starting Bucky Irving and I'm playing Bucky Irving this week against the Falcons.
Okay, so Chuba.
And if it bites me in the ass, it bites me in the ass, but I'm just at least following through with my methodology and my strategy and how I'm running my team. And I have nothing to lose. I'd rather take the home run hit that I have in Bucky Irving to bust off, a Devon Achane 70-yard run or big touchdown or whatever than the security of having the catches and the perceived volume with Rachaad White, because he's got that reputation of being the starter and he's produced in the past. I love my veteran running backs, but I also see, when it's not working, you got to switch to something else. And if your team's like myself, where you're 0-4, 1-3, it's now is a time
to try
to
something
not panic,
different.
but go for those home run hits in your lineup and your flex spots of go for those players that can hit you those big plays and those knockout punches against other teams, because that's what's going to take now to get to the playoffs. You're going to need those home run hits. You're going to need those knockout punches, because the body blows haven't worked for you for the first few weeks of having those floor players in your lineups and then having goose eggs by injuries and whatnot. So it is it's feast or famine now. You have to go
Yeah.
for the big shot players and like
are you going
big
Chuba?
trades.
Are you going Chuba over Bijan?
I want to pick Bijan. I believe in Bijan. I want Bijan. But Chuba Hubbard is playing so well. And he's going against the Bears defense in Chicago. And traditionally, running backs in Chicago don't have good games. Mm-hmm. So that's why I'm sticking with Bijan Robinson against the Bucs at home. Just games in Chicago run slower and they score less. They're just because I'm up here. I watch a lot of their games, and I've experienced a lot of it. And it's a lot of very hard earned points for fantasy and for NFL teams up there. It's just a different stadium with just different expectations. And it's just, that's what I've seen in the past and how it's been trending up until this point. I think Chuba Hubbard will still have a good game. He's still startable. Play him at the very least in your flex, your running back too. Mm-hmm. But I think if you are a Bijan owner, you have to start him, man. You invested that draft pick. You have to stick with him, because if you falter now and you decide to bench him, and he goes off, now you're in your own head. You got do I start him this week? Do I sit him this week? I don't know. I started him and he did bad, but now I sat him and he did great. I don't know what to do with him. And that's what I had last year when I had Bijan. And this year I didn't draft him anywhere. I was like, I'm not playing this game again of he could be going off. And it's not because I don't trust him. I love him. I love the talent. I despise the coaching staff.
The play call, and they don't know how to use him.
They don't.
Yeah. So let me ask you this: Deontay Johnson or Drake London?
Good. Oh, you're fired with these picks. This is spicy. I'm going to ride the hot hand. I'm going Deontay Johnson. I feel like the Bears are going to force the Panthers to play catch up and throw the ball. I think Caleb Williams will get back on track. He'll have a so mid game, not like a Jaden Daniels rookie game, but he won't have a bomb of the barrel game. He'll be effective enough to where it'll be, a game that the Carolina will have to keep up and score points, and Andy Dalton will have to throw the ball a little bit more. And like I said, to reiterate my point earlier, he'll find his number one guy as long as Thielen stays out. Legette's up and coming, but he can't be confidently relied upon. I mean, he'd be maybe a sneaky flex to play this week, but I would go Deontay Johnson over Drake London because I don't trust this Falcons offense enough. I mean, it should be Drake London, but the Falcons have proven that they don't want to rely on him as they're throwing to Ray McLeod and other wide receivers. It's it makes no sense.
Mm-hmm. Especially based on where you would have drafted him, right? Probably third, fourth
that's
round,
frustrating.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Deontay Johnson, you probably didn't even look at.
Yeah.
Until last week, So yeah, it's frustrating. But that's the cool thing about fantasy football. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It's not always about what you draft. You can shape your team, and you see how it plays out around this time. Weeks 3 through 6. You start seeing how the players how the teams are shaping out. You start seeing the injuries, that have happened that they're getting over from the beginning of the season. The players are getting locked in. Yeah, but it starts turning around. Speaking of injuries, though, do you think it's time for the Steelers to name Russell or to name Justin Fields as the starter, or you think they're gonna bring Russell Wilson back?
For me, personally, I would keep Justin Fields in there. Ride the hot hand. He's playing well. He's running that offense the way they want it to be run. He's effective, and he's doing the best that he can with what he's got to work with on offense. I mean, he's got Arthur Smith calling the plays. He's got that going against him. The running game hasn't really gotten taken off that we'd like to. We want Najee Harris to be more productive with his attempts. You want Jaylen Warren coming out of the backfield, being able to spell out and get some space to run the rest of the offense. And, I think they should keep running Justin Fields, no pun intended, because he ran quite a bit last game and it was effective, and he needed to because they were down against the Colts. But I say you got to factor in the locker room too. If you keep switching this tug of war of like this quarterback, that quarterback, this quarterback, that quarterback, it's not healthy for the locker room and for the guys because they have to like adjust just as much as the quarterbacks do, either Russell or Justin Fields. The rest of that offense, that offensive line, has to play differently and run differently based on whatever quarterback is in there. And if you're going to keep flip flopping, switching that up, you're not going to have a sense of consistency and trust and like rapport built up through that team. And it's not good. It's not brings progress. I mean, the only way I see Russell Wilson getting his job back is, heaven forbid, an injury to Justin Fields and he gets back on the field because of that. I mean, right now it's unfortunate Russell Wilson lost his job to Justin Fields based off an injury, but the Steelers were winning games with Justin Fields. They're running the offense effectively with Justin Fields, and they're showing that they can put up points with Justin Fields. And if you throw Russell Wilson in there now, if you're the Steelers, I don't know, it'd be great if Shawnee was on. He would take his perspective on it. But like as a GM and a coach and like just the objective, unbiased person in this situation, you got to keep it going with Justin Fields and not switch it up to like risk that division in the locker room or just that, that opportunity to create more problems than there should be.
Mm-hmm.
And by no means is that me saying that Russell Wilson is not as good as Justin Fields or vice versa. Fields is way better than
it is. Whatever. Like we know what's up.
He's running that offense better right now than I feel Russell Wilson would have ran that offense in the first 3 games.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I have a question for you going back on that play off that last one. Say, how there's bye weeks. You got Justin Herbert on a bye. You got Jalen Hurts on a bye. You got Jared Goff on a bye. You got Will Levis on a bye. You need to fill in on your quarterback for your quarterback spot. If you do, hypothetical, would you start Kirk Cousins or would you start forget what's
who, Baker?
No, not Baker. Kirk Cousins, or would you start who are we talking about? Wow, it's just on
Justin
I had a
Fields.
brain fart.
Justin
Fields.
I'm starting Justin Fields over Josh Allen this week.
Okay. Yeah. So would you start Kirk Cousins or would you start Derek Carr this week?
Ooh, hey, you hit me in the gut here.
Yeah, that's a hard one.
I think if I'm starting both those quarterbacks, that's my options. I might as well I don't even care. Like, I'm going to close my eyes and pick one, whichever one.
I got a spicier one for you. You'd start Kirk Cousins or Andy Dalton this week?
Ooh, Andy Dalton.
All right. See,
I got one for you.
Oh, yeah, here, hit me.
Andy Dalton or Josh Allen?
Josh Allen. I feel he's going to be mad. He's going to put his Superman cape on, and he ain't playing the same way as he played last week. Yeah, that is. Who started that lineup?
3 points. Is this
just a generated one?
Yeah, this is just on Sleeper. This is the NFL.
Oh, that Breece Hall one hurts my soul.
The worst lineup. Carson Still though -4,
Dude,
-4.
The Chiefs need to figure out their running back fast.
Kareem Hunt's gonna be the running back. They know he is.
Clyde Edwards-Helaire is coming back off the NFI list, so he'll be able to join the practice squad this week.
Well, they're gonna have Kareem Hunt playing, and then Clyde Edwards-Helaire wasn't really the running back they ever wanted him to be anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So
I think it's a mess. I don't think you can trust any one of those running backs.
Why does it look like 2016 again over there?
Yeah, I don't know, man. Like, but the thing is they're winning games still, and they're just like, that's why I feel this week against the Saints defense, they're a good, strong defense. They're a competent defense. I think the Chiefs have to be perfect. They can't make mistakes at home this week. They have no room for error with a depleted wide receiver core, a built by duct tape running back room, and just the ghost of Travis Kelce as their options on offense. Like, Patrick Mahomes is going to have to be superhuman.
Hey, he is.
Yep, he is.
I'm Are Jaguars the only team that hasn't won a game this season?
They're the last winless team in the NFL. I am the Jacksonville Jaguars of fantasy football.
Oh, you're not. It's going to turn around, bro. You get there, and then you'll start getting your wins once your players come back. Besides CMC, I mean,
this time last year, I started off 1-5. And I made the playoffs. And I got to the championship game, but I lost it. So there's always hope.
There's always hope. Dude, there's some nuggets on the sleeper app. I like going through it.
We gotta. I don't know. I'm not saying what we. If they could somehow,
Sam's working on it. Sam's working on getting them as their sponsors. Once he gets his claws on it,
we love your app, man. Yeah. They got so much good stuff.
I'm gonna hit them up. Yeah, I gotta come up with some sort of like, I don't know, some way to get in contact. I'll just keep sending them messages on X.
Yeah. Please love us, sleeper.
But hey, man, I need to get out of here.
Hey, that's fine.
It's been an amazing show.
Dinner's waiting.
We can go on and on and on and on.
Oh, yes. I love we hit all of our points tonight. We got where we ought to. We answered some great questions. Thank you, Nino. Thank you, Stefan. That was Stefano, sorry.
Yeah.
For those questions. I love it. That was awesome.
Yeah, man. I love the interaction we've been getting these past couple shows. You guys, don't forget to follow, like, and subscribe. And most of all, please, if you could, don't forget to share. That helps every one of you. If you just shared it out, that would be amazing. That helps so much. And then it's just liking it and then subscribing. Yeah. So we appreciate
pick a social media of yours. Sure. Pick Snapchat. Pick I don't know, Instagram. Pick Facebook. Just if you could just throw us on your thing once day just to get it out there, it'd be so greatly appreciated. We'd be so thankful for it.
And we have shorts. We do have like shorts from each episode on like YouTube, and then we have it on TikTok at 303 Bandwagon. So at 303 Bandwagon, and then at Shady Sports Network on YouTube. At ShadySportsNetwork.com, you can find us. So and then like as we always say, you can find all types of sports and events on Shady Sports Network. We have the Big Three NBA or Big Three basketball league, as well as like a AF1. A couple wrestling. Of other arena. Yeah, we have wrestling on Mondays, the Monarch Wrestling. So we have all types of stuff for you guys, not just this football, but we love football here. So, me, Justin, and then when Seany, we're gonna bring you, your fantasy points, your fantasy updates, who should you start, who should you sit, tell you your bye weeks, and just give you, some good information and our predictions and our updates. So again, we do this every Tuesday at 6:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, and then we come back and we do it again every Sunday night at 7 p.m. with instant reactions on the game.
Join us for the Sunday night game. Watch some football and hang out with us.
It gets a little rowdy Sunday nights. I feel like Sunday nights are super fun. Tuesday nights are fun too. I think
they're both fun. I love it. Ever since coming in on here, this has been great fun. It's a different experience being like the messenger and like typing into this. Like, so if you guys want, get on the show, join us, hang out with us, talk some fantasy football, some football.
Yep. I mean,
absolutely.
We just did because we love this. Trust me, we're not professionals. We're not analysts. We're not team insiders. We don't.
Oh yes, we have no affiliation to any team.
Right? Yeah. I'm not going in the media. I mean, I'm one day goals. Right? Goals. Right?
One day. Let's get him there, people. Yeah, let's get him there.
Get there. But I mean, other than that, I mean, we're not. We just love the game. We love the sport. So,
as my wife would say, I'm just a nerd. Just a nerd.
He loves being a nerd. Chad, thank you. Sounds like a plan. Heck yeah! Don't forget follow.
Also, Chad. Guys, if you want to play fantasy football with us, we're still looking at setting up a round table. We want to set up an 8-team league. You thinking? Let's start out with 8-team league.
Hit us up if you got Facebook. If you don't have Facebook, leave a comment and we'll get with you. Or find us.
I love to play against you. It's an easy win, but I'll still give you one hell of a fight.
Yeah, so we'll get ready for next season. I mean, either way, let's get fantasy football going. Let's grow it. Let's grow together, guys. Let's grow together for sure. And we can set this league up however you guys want, too. We can get everybody in there. We're
just looking to get those people together, get this roundtable started to build and grow this community so we can be, even more fun and more engaging.
Break by break. So we're doing it, guys. So thank you guys for joining us. Again, follow us on all the social medias. Again, join the group, the Facebook Shady Sports Fantasy Reports, Fantasy Football Reports group, and the Shady Sports Network group as well. And you'll be updated on all types of events in sports. I promise you. We're bringing some good stuff. And there's a team near you. If you don't think there's a team near you, I promise you there's probably one within like an hour, 2 hours away from you. So yeah, with that being said, Justin, you got anything, man?
No, you nailed it all on the head. You wrapped up like a nice little bow. I love it.
Hey,
you're making good time here. We'll get you out of here in an hour and a half, and we'll see you guys on Sunday. I look forward to it. Hope everyone's Thursday night games go in your favor. You start off the week right.
Yep.
And we look forward to hearing about it and seeing you guys on Sunday night if you choose to join us.
Yes. Come join us. Please come join us on Sunday. And as always, leave us comments. We love you guys. Have a great night.
Good night.
I'm a game changer. I'm a game changer.